Hello and welcome to the Sustainable Buildings video series. In the second module, we will discuss the business case for green buildings. We will begin with an overview: what are sustainable buildings and why are they important? And go over the key features of green buildings. We will then dive into why invest in green buildings and explore the business case. And finally, we will conclude with the key takeaways from this module.
What are sustainable buildings and why are they important? Sustainable buildings or green buildings use resources efficiently and responsibly throughout a building's life cycle, starting from the design phase to construction, operation, and demolition. A sustainable building can not only play a critical role in reducing emissions from the building sector, they can also provide several other benefits, such as cost effectiveness, better human health and well-being. The workers inside a sustainable building have also reported increased productivity. Sustainable buildings create job opportunities, thus promoting economic growth and development. The business case for green buildings can be made from an economic perspective through performing a cost-benefit analysis. We can also explore the human health and well-being benefits, which are not observable in the short term and will require quantification over a longer time frame.
Some of the key features of green building design began by focusing on promoting energy efficient, clean, and renewable resources. Over time, quality of life, health, and well-being criteria began to be incorporated into green building design. Green building design, construction, and operation bring together sustainability practices in siting, use of renewable energy resources, energy and water efficiency technologies, sustainable use and disposal of low-carbon building materials, improving indoor air quality, and integrative design practices to reduce and eliminate the environmental impact of buildings. We will be diving into all of these topics in this video series, so I hope you continue to tune in. There are several rating systems that integrate metrics around these features to assess and certify building performance. You can hear more about it in the Green Building Rating Systems module, which is also part of the video series.
An important aspect of understanding the costs and benefits of sustainable buildings is about the impacts on the environment. Part of the building's impacts on the environment include energy use and operational carbon, which are well documented. Buildings are also responsible for contributions to embodied carbon and global warming, eutrophication, smog formation, material and resource consumption, acidification, ozone depletion, and other environmental impacts. While energy simulation and energy monitoring are used to assess the energy consumption and operational carbon emissions of buildings, the environmental life cycle assessment is often used to assess other environmental impacts of construction materials and buildings. Please see here some of the suggested readings for additional information regarding LCA.
Sustainable buildings can help reduce emissions and meet countries' climate change goals. The building sector is the largest energy-consuming sector in the United States, including operational emissions, emissions from purchased electricity and heat, and emissions from manufacture, transport, and assembly of building materials. The building sector contributes to over 1/3 of the greenhouse gas emissions in the United States. When it comes to new construction and renovations, the diversity of projects and technical complexity can make it hard to assess the business case for green buildings.
I've been asked the question, is there a business case for buildings to go green? My answer is an emphatic yes. But first, what do we mean by green buildings? My definition is investments that improve the quality of life of the building occupants, eliminate or reduce negative impacts on the environment, climate, and workers throughout the materials supply chain. In addition to reducing utility and operating costs, sustainable buildings improve value, attract new capital, and improve the social and economic health of their communities. I'm going to dig in on energy efficiency and solar energy, specifically from the individual building owner perspective. Energy prices are going up and will continue to increase. The only thing we don't know is how quickly and how high. Energy efficiency measures are the most effective hedge against high utility costs. And if you have tenants, they're going to be factoring in utility costs when they determine what rent they are willing to pay. Efficiency also reduces maintenance costs and extends equipment life, further reducing costs. More than this, energy efficiency improves occupant comfort and can easily be tied to indoor air quality improvements, something that has much more attention in this post-pandemic world. Regarding renewable energy, I like to think of solar energy as free fuel. We all like free things, right? Most investments in solar energy have a strong return on investment. They hedge against utility cost increases, dramatically reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and can also be used for resiliency to protect against grid outages when paired with storage. Lastly, there are now very generous tax incentives from the Inflation Reduction Act for solar, other renewables, and certain energy efficiency improvements. This is the best time to be considering making clean energy investments in your buildings.
However, Dr. Ming Hu makes a compelling argument in his book on green building costs that there is no clear-cut evidence that green buildings are more expensive to build than conventional buildings. Through an analysis of empirical data and detailed case studies of GSA-owned buildings, the author of this book argues that sustainable buildings are not necessarily more expensive to construct than conventional buildings, but what makes a significant difference in ensuring that there are no cost overruns is the project design team. The project design team's skill set, their experience with sustainable buildings, and communication within the team are identified as the most important factors in determining construction costs. Key takeaways from this module: sustainable buildings have the potential to reduce emissions, but also promote health and well-being of its occupants. Investing in sustainable buildings can reduce utility and operating costs while also improving the value, attract new capital, and improve the social and economic health of their communities. Having a project design team that has the necessary skill set and experiences with sustainable buildings will go a long way in ensuring that they can be constructed at par or below the cost of conventional buildings.